The birthday filled with a hint of fear. The dread cuts through the air like a chill breeze on a moonless night. 12 candles burn on Lily's cake, their flickering light mirrored in her frightened eyes. A birthday is meant to be a joyful celebration, yet today the room pulses with a tension that cannot be concealed. Her stepfather, Steve Sanders, lingers nearby, with bloodshot eyes and heavy breaths, like a shadow engulfing her, penetrating every corner of the child's fragile soul. Well, Lily, you've grown up. Hadn't girls got married by 12 long ago? His words slice through the silence, leaving a bitter sting. The girl stays silent, drifting toward the edge of the bed, her eyes gleaming with a scared resignation. The trembling inside her responds to the uninvited closeness and cold persistence of the man who calls himself her stepfather, but lacks the heart of a father.
Steve Sanders murmurs, seemingly lost in distant memories. You look so much like your mother when she was young, just as beautiful and patient. A sinister compliment hides dark intentions, one that makes the blood run cold. Lily softly whispers that she needs to leave, but he refuses to let her go. Let me pass, she pleads, yet Steve Sanders only croaks a cruel chuckle, reinforcing his control with a mocking smirk and a wink. Why do you hate me so much? What have I ever done to you? His grin appears as a soulless mask, sending chills down her spine. Lily threatens to tell her mother, but the response is laced with doubt and ridicule. What will you tell her? What bad thing have I done? Your mother won't say a word. She knows what she did in her youth. Words from the past emerge like murky waves, dragging the girl into a whirlpool of doubt and pain. At the most intense moment, the door suddenly jerks and Lily screams, realizing with a shock that the door is locked. Evelyn enters the room asking what happened. Steve Sanders calmly explains, trying to replace the truth with a lie. I do not know, darling. She first wanted to talk like a father would and then started shouting. Lily falls silent. A lump of bitterness forms in her throat. Her heart pounds, desperately seeking escape, but no salvation is near. Today is Lily's 12th birthday, yet instead of celebration, the house smells of tears and harsh truth. Evelyn gathers the relatives. Even Stephen, a distant family member, and his spouse arrive at Evelyn's invitation to make the event festive. But to Lily, all the relatives feel like strangers, unwanted guests, and the atmosphere is suffocating. Her mother says family is support and strength, yet Lily feels invisible at this gathering. When Lily tries to avoid her stepfather's attention, Evelyn starts to complain. Lily, what are you doing? However, Steve Sanders steps in to defend her. Do not scold the girl, darling. This is just a difficult age. Hormones are raging. Evelyn calms down and takes the guests away, but the stepfather's gaze remains cold, shadowed by displeasure. He leaves last, casting a gloomy look at Lily that seems to pierce right through her. 2 weeks later, the tension in the house becomes unbearable. Steve Sanders seizes every opportunity to upset Lily, teasing her with words and breaking her spirit. His so-called care turns into a trap. He picks up his daughter from school using the car and takes any free moment as an excuse to stay close. Yet, beneath this lies fear and pressure. The girl is forced to skip classes, hiding from her stepfather.
She must come up with excuses to her teachers to conceal the issue. Finally, Lily finds the courage to open up to her mother about her struggles. "Mom, your husband is driving me crazy," she breathes out, frightened and exhausted. Evelyn, absorbed in her tablet, looks up sharply, grabs Lily's hand, and demands an explanation. The girl reveals everything: the harsh words, constant criticism, and humiliation. But her mother's response is a cold wall of doubt. "Are you lying, Lily?" "Mom, it's true," she insists anxiously. Betrayal tears at her heart as Evelyn rejects her daughter's claims. "He never said a single harsh word to you. You are just making things up. He warned you. Don't believe those lies." Feeling abandoned by the one person who should protect her, Lily is left with a hollow emptiness, as if her closest ally turned away at the worst moment. Evelyn grabs Lily's hand and drags her into a room, immediately imposing restrictions. "You will stay home. No phones. No friends. You are just poisoning your mind." Steve Sanders asserts his authority. "I feed you and bring home the salary. You only think about yourself, you lazy brat." A loud slam of the door and the click of a lock echo as the last sounds before Lily's solitude. She quietly whimpers in despair. What can you do when family becomes your enemy? That very night, Lily runs away from home. She slips through the apartment window, which fortunately is on the first floor. She cannot hide at Barbara's place. Adults will definitely inform the parents. The girl is alone, yet one intense thought keeps spinning in her mind. She must seek help and protection from the witch. Agnes, known throughout the district, lives beyond the park in a cottage filled with mysteries and secrets. Lily holds a modest amount of money saved with great effort and hopes it will be enough. The witch greets the girl as if she has been expecting her at the door. "I might have been waiting," Agnes whispers, while wiping her nose and shaking her head, inviting Lily inside. Shivering, the girl asks for a love-repelling potion. But the old woman knows the true remedy is something entirely different. You do not need a repelling potion, but something else altogether. "I will do what is necessary," the witch assures her, gathering pots, brewing a potion, and revealing secrets to Lily that explain why her mother rejects her and why the stepfather matters more than blood ties. Lily listens, understands, and accepts the bitter truth like a medicine. Holding a dark vial in her hands, she returns home before dawn. The morning begins as usual. Steve Sanders rises first, pours a glass of water, and freshens up. The mother is still dozing, but after a few minutes discovers the stepfather has vanished. Lily quickly empties the remaining potion and fills the glass with clean water, hiding the secret. Days pass, but Sanders does not show up. The mother calls relatives, friends, and hospitals, falling into despair and misery. The police takes the report but believes the man left voluntarily, tired of family conflicts. For Lily, a time of doubt and loneliness begins. Mother mourns, but the girl senses this is not the end. Memories pierce Lily's heart with pain. Her mother left her at the maternity hospital and only adopted her later under family pressure. Such a betrayal is hard to forgive, yet life keeps moving forward. Lily holds a secret deep within and follows her own path. Once a week she visits the city dump to see Damien, a homeless man she once knew as Steve Sanders. Now he seems like a nobody, lonely and forgotten, with eyes that hide something lost and sorrowful. Martha, a neighbor, sometimes overhears family arguments but remains silent, as if no one wishes to share their pain. Lily's mother grows weaker, accepting life with heavy resignation. On a gloomy day, she quietly whispers, "Lily, my daughter, I have something to tell you. I left you at the maternity hospital." The girl blushes, but tears fall freely, a release from bitterness and resentment. "Forgive me. Forgive me, my girl." Evelyn's voice weakens. Lily rushes to her mother, pressing her cheek against the cold hand, and softly says, "I love you, mommy." Tears flow like a river. Yet pain does not vanish when hidden inside. Hope awakens that a fresh start is possible. With each passing moment, her mother revives, strength returns. Together, they stroll through the streets, sharing women's secrets and building a new world without fear or loneliness. For the first time, Lily feels happiness, though many trials and discoveries still await. Then comes the cherished moment when the past feels like a mere shadow and the future a bright horizon under the light of hope. Lily was preparing herself to face new challenges that awaited her in the next chapter of life. A difficult conversation took place behind a closed door. The heaviness of the words hung in the air like an invisible barrier between Lily and Steve Sanders. "Well, Lily, you are already grown up," he said. "At 12, people used to get married earlier." Steve's eyes gleamed with a drunken fire. She did not reply and moved toward the edge of the bed. A flicker of fear crossed her gaze. Steve spoke thoughtfully. "You resembled your mother very much when she was young, hardworking and patient." Almost whispering, Lily said, "I do not want to talk to you. I need to leave." However, Steve did not move from his spot. The girl made up her mind to stand and walk past him. But he chuckled hoarsely, winked, and let her go. "Why do you hate me so much?" he asked with a smile, trying to seem kind. "I already said, let me go or I will tell my mother everything." Lily's voice trembled. "What will you say? What bad thing have I done?" The laughter of Steve Sanders sounded sinister. "Your mother will say nothing. She knows what she did when she was young." "No. What?" The girl desperately wanted to leave, but Steve stood in her way. She rushed into the door in childhood. Suddenly there was a knock. Lily screamed, noticing that the door was locked. Evelyn entered quietly. "What happened here, Sasha?" Without blinking, Steve lied. "I do not know, sweetheart." Evelyn first asked to speak like a father should, and then began to scold. Lily felt confused. Waves of shame washed over her. She knew Steve should not behave like this. All this happened on Lily's 12th birthday. The mother gathered the relatives, yet even without them, the girl was struggling. The family seemed like the last refuge of support. Evelyn called them her dear ones, her foundation, but her voice betrayed weariness and tension. "Lily, What are you up to? The mother began to grow angry.
Don't scold her, sweetheart, the stepfather interjected. It's a difficult age. Hormones are raging.
The mother calmed down and led the guests away. Steve Sanders was the last to leave, casting a gloomy glance at Lily. 2 weeks passed before the girl dared to tell her mother about the conversation with her stepfather. Steve Sanders had become unbearable. Every little moment was seized as an excuse for teasing and humiliation. He saw Lily off to school and met her when she returned, always finding a pretext. Lily hid, skipped classes to avoid encountering him at home. The teacher noticed the changes and asked questions, but Lily found excuses. It became impossible to endure any longer, and she decided to reveal the truth to her mother. "Mom, he's driving me crazy," she blurted out when alone with Evelyn. The mother put down her tablet and grabbed her hand.
Who is driving you crazy?
"Him, Alexander, your husband."
Evelyn gathered her patience in a fist. Come on, tell me what happened.
Lily described the talks with her stepfather, his mockery and nagging. Sasha was right. "And you are lying," the mother said coldly. "Mom, it is true." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I do not know why you are against our relationship," Evelyn said, spinning a new tale. "He didn't even say a word to you." Sasha warned you. "Mom, why don't you believe me?" Lily's heart shattered into pieces. She was both stunned and hurt. Her own family member did not hear her. Evelyn ignored the words but warned bitterly. "You will just stay at home. No phone, no friends. Your mind completely clogged." "Mom, you're not acting like a mother. Steve provides for us. He brings the salary. A man of gold. And you only think about yourself." With that, the door slammed loudly and the lock clicked shut. Lily quietly wept, unsure where to run. That night, the girl ran away from home, slipping out the window on the first floor. Staying with friends was impossible. The adults would have told on her. The only choice seemed to be the witch, old Agnes, who lived beyond the park in the private neighborhood. Lily had heard how high school girls secretly visited her for love potions, but she needed something to break a bond. The girl took her few savings, hoping it would be enough for help. The old woman met Lily at the doorstep as if she already knew her trouble. Or at least pretended so, the old woman whispered dryly, inviting her inside. "Hello," Lily said softly. "Can I order a potion to break a bond?" "You do not need a break bond potion. Something else is required. I will prepare what is necessary." "Thank you," Lily said, handing over the money. "Keep it. You might need it." "Poor thing. Your stepfather is shady, and your mother made mistakes in her youth." "What mistakes?" Lily asked in surprise. The witch gathered bottles, heated and poured liquids without pause. Gradually, the girl understood why her mother behaved so coldly, why her stepfather was more important than her own daughter. "Here, it is ready. Add it to drink or food, but be sure your mother does not taste it." "Thank you," Lily hurried home. She had to return before dawn. Early in the morning, Steve Sanders got up as usual, poured glasses of filtered water, drank it at once, and started stretching. Evelyn woke up to his contented snorting, turned over, and fell back asleep. 15 minutes later, the kitchen was empty. Where had he gone? "Lily, have you seen Sasha?" the mother asked. The girl quickly poured out the leftover potion and filled a new glass of water. The mother was anxious. Steve did not show up that day, nor the following week, nor the entire month. Evelyn called everyone she could: hospitals, acquaintances, distant relatives, and Stephen the stepfather, but all in vain. The police filed a report but assumed the man left on his own. No evidence of a crime was found. Lily felt uneasy. Her mother cried often, wore mourning clothes, and tried to make her daughter dress in black, but Lily refused. She could not accept the betrayal of a mother who had abandoned her at birth, who, apparently under family pressure, was forced to give her up for adoption. How could she forgive that? This was the main secret revealed by the stepfather and harshly criticized by the witch Agnes. The girl was hurt that her mother did not need her, that her role as a wife mattered more than being a mom. But life went on, and Lily found her own secret source of influence. Once a week, she visited the city dump where a homeless man named Damien lived. A man who was no longer a stepfather, but only a ghost of him. He had forgotten Lily, her mother, and the past. Yet his eyes gleamed greedily whenever she appeared. Lily decided to keep this a secret from everyone, including her mother. Meanwhile, Evelyn grew seriously ill, lying pale and quiet. "Lily, my dear, I have something to tell you," she whispered in a hoarse voice. "I left you at the maternity hospital." "I know, Mum." The girl immediately blushed. Forgive me, my little one." The mother's eyes filled with tears. Lily could no longer hold back her own, having cried out all the sorrow and hurt built up over the years. "I love you, Mummy," she whispered, pressing a cheek against her mother's. "Just get better." "I will try," Evelyn smiled, and very soon she began to recover. So quickly that they walked the streets together, sharing their secrets and dreams. Lily was happy, but ahead awaited another significant chapter, and the girl's mind soared toward it like a bird reaching for freedom. Tension and loneliness increased. That evening, a fragile silence ruled the house, broken only by the muffled voice of Steve Sanders, whose constant irritation deeply annoyed Lily. These last 2 weeks felt like an endless trial in which her stepfather relentlessly aimed to hurt her. His words, sharp as knives, cut through the vulnerable soul of the girl, while Evelyn seemed oblivious to what was happening. Lily increasingly withdrew, trying to hide her true feelings from those who were supposed to be her support and protection. She longed for the days when her mother looked at her with warmth. It seemed those days had vanished forever. Steve Sanders grew ever more arrogant and spiteful. Each morning, he found a new reason to express displeasure with Lily. The last time he saw her off to school, his bitterness weighed heavily in the air. A flicker of anger appeared in his eyes as the girl hurried to leave after the final lesson, eager to avoid meeting her stepfather near the building. Lily felt an overwhelming urge growing inside her to run as far away as possible from that house, where love and understanding seemed like distant dreams. She could no longer stay silent. The weight of resentment and loneliness was tearing her heart apart. Support came from Barbara, Lily's friend, who tried to encourage her with brave words and kind gestures. Barbara understood that simple friendship was exactly what Lily needed right now, like a lifeline in a stormy sea of troubles. Together, they talked about their plans and dreamed of the day they might break free from the oppressive male dominance that consumed everything around them. Yet, Lily kept a heavy secret to herself, knowing that no conversation could restore the warmth and trust her home once had. One evening, Lily gathered enough courage to open up to Evelyn about the unbearable burden she carried. Struggling to find the right words, she said, "Mom, I cannot take it anymore. Alexander, your husband?" A silence fell over the room, as if the very air had frozen. Evelyn, touching her daughter's hand, shifted her gaze from the tablet to Lily and demanded an explanation. Lily poured out her heart, sharing every humiliation and cruel deception she had endured from Steve Sanders. But Evelyn's reaction hit her like a painful blow. She dismissed Lily's words, accusing her of lying and being ungrateful. Evelyn's words felt like a verdict. "You are making it up, Lily. Sasha has never said a word he shouldn't have. He provides for us and—"
"She supports it," the mother said coldly, unwilling to face the truth. Lily felt a knot of pain and hopelessness tighten in her chest. The sense of betrayal by a loved one was even deeper than that by her stepfather. In that moment, she realized she had to find another way out, to hide from those who were supposed to protect her. Tears quietly streamed down her cheeks, yet the girl remained silent. Dawn brought an unexpected decision to flee from home. Lily carefully removed the grill from the first floor window and slipped out into the yard. Her heart seemed to pound fiercely with anxiety and fear. She knew she could not seek help from adult friends because their parents would never understand and might even betray her.
Then the image of Agnes, the local witch living beyond the park in the private sector, surfaced in her mind. Lily had heard whispers from older students calling on Agnes for love potions. The girl herself needed protection, a warding charm that could shield her from her stepfather and the harsh reality she faced. When she arrived at the old woman's house, Agnes met her with tired yet penetrating eyes and gestured for her to come inside. "You haven't come just for a warding potion. You need a different kind of help," Agnes said, gathering bottles and brewing a mysterious potion. Every word she spoke held a truth so chilling it made Lily's spine tingle. The old woman cautiously revealed hidden family secrets, things Lily's mother had concealed in her youth, and explained how the stepfather could genuinely affect the family's fate. All of this radiated a cold, unsettling truth. Yet it gave her the realization that a mother's love could be far more complicated and painful than she had ever imagined before. Holding the bottle, filled with a dark potion, Lily hurried back home before dawn, fearing that her mother or stepfather might interfere with her plans. She greeted the morning, engulfed by the familiar sounds of the house. Steve Sanders performed his daily rituals, drinking the poured water and doing his exercises. Evelyn, still sleepy, did not notice that her husband was missing that morning. Lily cautiously poured the remaining potion into a fresh glass, holding on to the hope deep inside her heart that everything would change. Meanwhile, the stepfather vanished without a trace, disappearing from their lives like a shadow from the past. Weeks passed, yet the man never returned. Evelyn contacted every known acquaintance and distant relative, including Stephen, with the centrality of Steve Sanders, but no one answered. The police remained indifferent, claiming that an adult might have left voluntarily without any criminal involvement. Evelyn fell into a deep depression, constantly crying and demanding Lily to mourn, which only deepened the girl's isolation. However, Lily firmly refused, since a burning desire for justice and clarity blazed inside her. Her heart carried a mixture of wounds and bitterness. It was difficult for her to forgive her mother for abandoning her at the maternity hospital. It seemed as if her mother had chosen a new life, a new family, and a new path where Lily had no place. Evelyn meant everything to her, but she was also the one causing this invisible wound, making her feel forgotten and unwanted. Yet, now the girl possessed her own secret weapon, consisting of a dark potion and an encounter with a witch that awakened new powers within her. Lily understood that the journey ahead would be long and challenging, yet she was determined to fight. Once every week, Lily visited the city landfill, where a homeless man named Damien lived. He barely resembled Steve Sanders, appearing filthy with an unkempt beard and dull eyes, completely devoid of memories. However, when he saw Lily, his eyes still sparkled with a familiar, faint glimmer. For the girl, this was a living metaphor of the past she tried to leave behind, while preserving the memory, but refusing to let it destroy her. She decided not to tell her mother about these visits, feeling it was her secret and her way of redemption. Meanwhile, the neighbor Martha often witnessed the family turmoil. Through the half-closed shutters, she heard shouting and crying. She saw Lily running away, stumbling on the stairs. She felt sorry for the girl, yet could not intervene due to moral boundaries and fear. Martha prayed for joyful Evelyn, hoping one day their lives would improve and love would prevail. Her quiet presence was a small yet significant symbol of support and hope for kindness. Over time, Evelyn grew weaker, preparing for the inevitable. One quiet evening, holding her mother's hand, gently she spoke the painful truth. "You know, I left you in the maternity hospital." At last, the girl received the answer to the question that haunted her. Her mother's eyes filled with tears, and the ice between them began to melt. Lily, despite the pain of many years, found it in her heart to forgive, allowing herself to feel love and support. Her own tears washed away past grievances, bringing a deep sense of relief, like a fresh sunrise breaking through a long stormy sky. This reconciliation transformed everything. Evelyn started to recover quickly, and soon mother and daughter were working together, sharing their feminine secrets and dreams. Lily felt she had finally found what she so desperately needed: warmth and understanding from someone close. The past was left behind, but the lesson of justice and the power of forgiveness remained etched in the girl's memory forever. One chapter closed, while another prepared to open, full of new twists and challenges. Many more stories awaited their turn to be lived and understood. A brave confession met with an unfair response. No one could have predicted that a conversation beginning with a simple request would turn into a disaster, shattering the last hopes for empathy and support. Lily, torn inside by doubts and fear, finally decided to reveal the burden that was growing unbearable day by day in her heart. "Mom, he's driving me crazy," Lily uttered, as if pulling the words from deep within during a private moment with Evelyn. The mother looked up from her tablet, her eyes filled with surprise. Who is driving you crazy? She asked cautiously, trying to grasp the meaning. He, Steve Sanders, your husband, the girl said, unable to hide the tremor in her voice that betrayed her pain and hurt. Suddenly, a mother's hand gripped Lily's in response. Evelyn took a deep breath and spoke with a hint of weariness. Well, just tell me right away what happened. Is it true that Steve Sanders and you really do not get along? Lily began to whisper about the words that had tormented her for a long time, about the constant criticisms, about us, about his unhealthy attention that was starting to feel like a threat. Each sentence escaped her like a small confession she had been so afraid to voice. Yes, Lily, you are seriously exaggerating, her mother said. Her eyes tightened with suspicion. Steve is a bit much, but you just spun fantasies. You lied. I heard he defended you, warned you, but you did not listen. Bitter disappointment gripped Lily's heart tightly. She had not expected such a response, which crushed her belief and her desire to find peace in her mother's love. Mom, why do you not want to listen to me? Lily whispered softly. Her eyes filled with tears, but her mother only turned away. There will be no phone, no friends, no outings for you. You will stay home quietly until you learn to appreciate what you have, Evelyn said firmly, and the weight of her words fell on the girl with unbearable force. At that moment, Steve Sanders appeared from the shadows with a sly smile so brazen it felt like a cruel game of fate with Lily's life. Despite all the restrictions, the girl dared to run away that very night, slipping out of the window that happened to be on the first floor. Her mind held only one hope: to find Agnes, the witch rumored to help in difficult situations. Agnes lived beyond the park in an old house. In the abandoned house, cloaked in darkness and legends, Lily knocked and stepped inside. The old woman greeted her with genuine understanding. Yes, your fate is not an easy one. You need more than a simple potion. You must change many things. While the witch brewed her concoction, barely moving among bottles and cauldrons, Lily listened to the stories about her mother's past and the deeds of Steve Sanders. This explained why Evelyn had always pushed the girl away, why the stepfather mattered more to her. Take this, add it to her drink of food, but make sure your mother never finds out, the old lady said, handing over a dark vial. Lily thanked her and hurried home, filled with determination. The pale blue dusk had just touched the windows when Steve, as usual, poured some water and swallowed it quickly. Soon the man began his morning exercises, making satisfied snorts. When Evelyn woke, she noticed Steve was missing after she went to the kitchen. "Where is your father?" Lily asked. Suddenly she poured out the remaining potion and refilled the glass with fresh water, so her mother would not detect the deception. Days passed, but nobody saw the stepfather. Evelyn called relatives, the hospital, and the police in vain. The revealed truth seemed unbelievable. The man had simply vanished, leaving everyone in uncertainty. Lily felt an emptiness and anger because her mother kept crying and dressing in mourning, blaming the girl for her neglect. Yet deep inside, Lily carried a different pain. She could not forgive that Evelyn had abandoned her at the maternity hospital and given love to her stepfather instead of her own daughter. One day, while wandering near the city dump, a girl came across Steve Sanders, her former stepfather, now dirty and abandoned. He had forgotten everything from the past, yet his eyes still held a strange glow whenever he saw her. Lily chose to keep this secret, knowing it was better if her mother did not find out. Meanwhile, Evelyn had fallen seriously ill and her condition was worsening. One quiet evening her mother whispered, "Lily, I have something to tell you. I left you at the maternity hospital." Lily felt warmth rising to her cheeks, and unable to hold back her tears, replied, "I know, Mom. Please forgive me too." Moments passed, filled with tears and forgiveness, as the two women healed their inner wounds and discovered a path to mutual understanding. Evelyn promised to get better, and soon they were walking the streets together, sharing secrets and dreams. The light of their new life began breaking through the clouds of the past. But many challenges still lay ahead. Lily understood that the past could not be changed, yet it was possible to build a future where justice and forgiveness would be their guiding stars. This was the unfolding of a complex story involving relationships tested by faith in love and friendship. Barbara remained a loyal friend supporting Lily, while Stephen and Martha became witnesses to tense moments that intensified day by day. Ahead awaited new meetings, discoveries, and trials that would force Lily to choose again and again between past and present, between resentment and hope. And this story was only beginning. A night escape and a meeting with destiny. Night draped the city in darkness when Lily made a decision that felt utterly reckless. Yet she saw no other way. She slipped quietly out of the house, evading the stern gaze of Father Steve Sanders and the confused look of her mother, Evelyn. A thought ran through her mind about the witch Agnes, a mysterious woman rumored to have the power to alter destinies. Her heart pounded faster, fear and hope blending into a single surge of emotion. Step by step, Lily moved through the deserted streets until she reached the old woman's home. Agnes' eyes seemed to pierce through to the very core, as if she understood everything without a word. Lily poured out her pain and injustice, the constant reproaches and fears that weighed on her soul. The witch did not try to dissuade her, but gently said that strength for the struggle was present and that help was near. While preparing a potion and revealing secrets of the family's past, Lily realized how much had been hidden from her before. Agnes's stories struck the deepest chords of her heart. Evelyn had endured hard times long ago and now suffered because of them. Steve Sanders was far from the man everyone thought him to be. The old woman explained that evil often grows in the shadows and that forgiveness is the only path to freedom and healing. Clutching the dark vial containing the potion, Lily felt it was both a key to change and a heavy reminder of the darkness lurking within her family. As she made her way back home, she encountered a familiar figure, the city's homeless man Damian. His disheveled appearance starkly contrasted with the memories of Steve Sanders. He had been like that before fate dealt its hand. Despite the turmoil and pain, Lily felt compassion for the man who had become a living symbol of broken lives. She decided not to reveal her plans or the mysterious past of her stepfather to her mother. Barbara, a loyal friend, was becoming a pillar of support for Lily, even though she remained unaware of the full depth of those secrets. Evelyn, their mother, was gradually fading, worn down by illness and internal struggles. One day she quietly confessed a terrible truth to Lily. There was a secret surrounding her birth that had been kept silent for years. Tears flowing with remorse opened the way to a new chapter in their relationship. Now Lily could face the future with hope. Who knew what challenges and joys lay ahead for them? Meanwhile, a new turn in this story was unfolding, promising change and reconciliation.
The night darkened over the city. Lily, trembling with fear and hope, held a small bottle containing a dark potion prepared by Granny Agnes. Within it shimmered a secret that promised relief from long suffering and injustice. Her heart was full of contradictions. Hope was breaking through, but uncertainty gnawed at her. Would she have enough strength and wisdom to endure this difficult path? Agnes, a mysterious witch on the edge of the village, had long become a living legend among neighborhood tales. Despite her strange appearance, she was the only one willing to help Lily without judgment. While gathering rare herbs and potions, the woman not only recounted tales from Evelyn and Steve Sanders' past, but also unveiled secrets that helped the girl comprehend why her mother could not always shield her from her stepfather. The witch thickened the brew and advised, "Drink it at the right moment, but be careful. The potion reveals itself only to those who truly suffer." Lily absorbed every word, feeling a warm wave of confidence enveloping her. Within her heart, a determination was growing, just as Barbara, her loyal friend and a true source of support during the darkest times, stepped through the door. Barbara gently took Lily's hand and whispered, "We are together. Fear nothing." This simple gesture filled Lily with the strength she had long been missing. Meanwhile, Evelyn remained trapped in silence and resentment, desperately trying to maintain the illusion of happiness for family and guests gathered to celebrate Lily's 12th birthday. The tension between Evelyn and Steve Sanders was like a chilling wind piercing the walls of their home. Stephen, a distant relative of Steve, noticed the strain and tried to stay neutral, yet every glance revealed his hidden wish to help, though skepticism veiled it. Steve Sanders, in contrast, became increasingly unbearable, as if a long shadow stretched his presence indefinitely. His constant mockery and burdens weighed heavily on Lily, forcing her to hide in the shadows during the last lessons, an attempt to escape reality. Yet, thoughts of fleeing and fighting were filled with questions and fears. Will she have enough strength to face what lies ahead? One evening, when her mother was already far from understanding and insight, Lily decided to reveal the truth about her stepfather. Her voice trembled, and tears of confusion shimmered in her eyes. "Mom, your husband, Steve Sanders, is driving me crazy," she said. Evelyn put down her tablet and merely smirked, accusing Lily of lying and being petty. This reaction shattered the girl, making her feel lonelier than ever before. Why does Mom not believe me? Why does my pain not matter to her? Lily wondered, as the world around her seemed to fall apart. The disappointment was so intense
that she resolved that very night to take a desperate step and run away. Their modest apartment was located on the ground floor, and Lily, barely breathing, slipped out through the window into the chilly night. Concealed by darkness, the girl made her way to Barbara's house, her last hope for relief. On the way to the witch, she repeated words of encouragement from a friend like a mantra to avoid giving up. Inside the house, the scent of herbs and old candles lingered. Barbara greeted Lily with calmness and an unusual warmth, as if she knew the girl would come to her. You came for a potion to break ties, but what you really need is different, Barbara said. I will prepare something to cleanse your soul and help you find justice. Yet the woman's voice held a hint of sorrow, as though echoing countless stories of others' suffering and judgment. While the old woman brewed the potion and shared tales of Evelyn's past, Lily listened attentively, learning more about the events that had led. The young mother herself was trapped by the passions and mistakes of her youth. Harsh words, not born of sympathy but truth, awakened new emotions in the girl. An understanding, mixed with bitterness, that her mother had once been caught in the same snare of circumstances and choices. The potion was ready. Agnes warned, add it to water or food, but make sure your mother never tastes it. This is just the beginning of the journey, my dear. Do not think everything will be solved immediately. These words pierced deeply into Lily's heart, carrying both a challenge and a glimmer of hope at once. She took the small bottle home, where the morning greeted her with anxious silence. Steve Sanders vanished as suddenly as he had appeared in their lives. At an ordinary moment, when he was drinking water, it had been switched with a potion. His sudden disappearance became a mystery for everyone, including his mother, who searched all the familiar places with growing worry, questioned friends, and even contacted the police. But no one could explain why the man had simply vanished like smoke. Days passed. The mother sank deeper into grief, wearing mourning, and struggling to find the words to express her pain. Lily kept her secret tightly, unwilling to burden her mother with fresh suffering and carrying the weight of loneliness alone. One example was the homeless man Damien, whom the girl often saw near the city dump. His neglected appearance and empty eyes became a living symbol of the temporarily lost Steve Sanders. Lily admitted to herself she was not yet ready to open up fully to the world. When Evelyn finally reached her breaking point, preparing for a final farewell, she whispered words that shook Lily to her core. I left you at the maternity hospital. Forgive me. This confession felt like a gentle ray of light in a dark tunnel. Lily allowed tears to flow, long and healing, while her heart filled not only with pain, but with love as well. The day came when her mother began to recover, and tenderness re-emerged between them, something both had been deprived of. They strolled together, shared secrets, laughed and sang, building a new bond from the ruins of the past. Lily realized that forgiveness is the key to freedom, and that love has the power to revive even the most shattered souls. Thus, beneath the shadow of an unseen potion and the first hopes for justice, invisible changes began that would slowly but surely lead Lily to a personal victory and the recognition of her own strength. The path ahead remained thorny. Many trials and discoveries lay in wait. A new dawn promised transformation, and Lily was more prepared than ever before. The disappearance of Steve Sanders. That evening, the atmosphere was thick with tense silence, as if a premonition of imminent change hung over the apartment. Steve Sanders, father of Lily, took his usual seat at the kitchen table, unaware that his life would be turned upside down that very day. Evelyn, his wife, had just awakened. Not noticing anyone else in the house, she began to worry. A glass of water stood on the table, poured from a filtered pitcher and drunk in one gulp by Steve. After his morning exercise routine, it was as if a different person had taken his place. Soon Evelyn noticed he was missing and asked her daughter with growing alarm. Lily carefully observed her mother's reaction and swiftly got rid of the liquid marked with a mysterious potion, then poured a glass of plain water instead. Her mother did not notice the deceit, completely unaware of what had truly happened. Time passed, but Steve Sanders was nowhere to be found. Not at home, not at work, nor among acquaintances or relatives, including the distant relative Stephen, whom Evelyn tirelessly called, hoping for any clue. The police took the report, but as so often occurs, classified the disappearance as a voluntary departure without finding any signs of violence. This left Evelyn with a bitter sense of helplessness, driving her deeper into despair. Lily felt the mounting tension, realizing her mother was in shock and sensing a pressing need to conceal her own actions and emotions to avoid further criticism and distance. Her relationship with Steve Sanders had been difficult from the start, filled with constant taunts, attempts to demean, and to exploit her vulnerabilities. Lily had grown used to hiding by leaving school early to escape encounters with her stepfather. Now, with him gone, a confused emptiness engulfed her soul. The city homeless man Damien, once Steve Sanders, had long become a symbol of the lost past, and Lily visited him every week. His dirty, neglected appearance contrasted sharply with the man he used to be. Yet his dull, empty eyes still recognized the girl. This silent understanding became almost like a refuge for her. Through a secret connection to the darkness that once belonged to the family, Evelyn gradually began to understand the magnitude of her mistakes, recalling the tales shared by the witch Agnes. The old woman, seated in her smoke-filled cottage, narrated in detail the difficult youth of Evelyn, revealing how she once left the newborn Lily at the hospital to escape a hopeless situation. Those moments of honesty made Lily's mother uneasy, and for the first time awakened genuine remorse for her actions. Yet, an equal measure of pain remained in Lily's heart as she struggled to heal from this spiritual wound. A significant catalyst in their troubles was Martha, the neighbor who avidly watched their family conflicts and occasionally sided with Lily. Her support provided the girl with some comfort during hopeless days. Barbara, a close friend to Lily, offered emotional encouragement, reminding her that every crisis eventually gives way to a dawn. Despite the heaviness of the circumstances and the inner turmoil, Lily eventually found the courage to share what she had long kept inside with her mother. Although disagreements and misunderstandings were frequent, Evelyn was willing to listen to her daughter in this difficult moment. This turning point marked the beginning of a new chapter for their relationship, allowing resentment and tension to slowly give way to a small glimmer of hope for forgiveness and reconciliation. A breath of change quietly entered their lives, inspiring Lily to believe in the possibility of renewal. Justice and the restoration of fairness can emerge even in situations where hope seemed lost. The past cannot be changed, but the future presented a door bathed generously in the light of forgiveness and understanding. This is the unique power of a family, the ability to rise from the deepest wounds and move forward. That night left a profound mark on the girl's heart, unveiling new horizons of strength and inner brightness. This is the story of how the disappearance of Steve Sanders became the beginning of Lily's extraordinary journey. It tells of a great trial that led to the realization of the value of genuine love and the force of true reconciliation. The hardest part is yet to come, because the tale continues to reveal its secrets, guiding the characters to new insights, making them believe in humanity's capacity for kindness, even in the darkest times.
While Lily pursues her path, she already understands that justice and forgiveness are closer than they seem. One only needs to take the first step toward a brighter tomorrow. The pain of loss and family tears surround the memory of Steve Sanders. His presence spread across the room like a shadow, mischievous with drunken eyes. Unspoken words pierced the child's heart like stings. "Well, Lily, you have become grown up," he said hoarsely. "At 12 years old, people married earlier." His rasping smile made the windowsill feel colder than a winter wind. Lily stayed silent, retreating to the edge of the bed. Her eyes sparkled with fear. This was not mere exhaustion. It was a wound yawning deep within her soul. Steve Sanders kept saying she resembled Evelyn in many ways. In her youth, beautiful and patient, it was as if she sought that single thread connecting their destinies. "I do not want to talk to you. I must leave," Lily whispered, trying to turn away. "But I am not moving from here. Let me pass," she said louder and attempted to go around him. He burst into laughter and gave her a sly wink that felt more like a challenge. "Why do you hate me so much?" he asked. Pretending to be kind, Lily remained silent. Her feelings of anger and confusion boiled fiercely inside her chest. Evelyn, distracted and worn out, entered the room at that moment. "What happened to you, Stevie?" she asked, gently approaching with her tender concern. Steve Sanders quietly lied, saying Lily was too emotional because of adolescence. But the mother of this growling beast in human form never understood him. She only saw the surface and held herself together for the family's sake. That day marked Lily's 12th birthday, a twilight of childhood that should have been bright and filled with warmth from loved ones. Instead, tension gripped the house. Their mother called relatives to create an appearance of unity. Lily accepted the celebration coldly, as if she were a stranger in her own home. Steve kept pricking her with jokes and accusations, wearing down the nervous system of the girl who no longer had the strength to hold back her emotions. 2 weeks later, she finally gathered courage and confided in Evelyn. "Mom, he's driving me crazy," Lily blurted out, ruthlessly tearing apart her inner defenses. Evelyn initially refused to believe, dismissing the words as if they were deceptive fabrications. "You are lying. I know that. Stephen never hurt you," she said coldly. Those words struck like a dagger to the heart. The disappointment in her mother was overwhelming, as if the ground had vanished beneath her feet. Lily felt abandoned, betrayed, and utterly misunderstood.
Her mother forbade her from contacting anyone, shutting the door in her face with locks, as if sealing away all the kindness that once existed between them forever. At that moment, Lily decided to run away. She slipped out of the house through a window. Her small heart pounded fiercely with fear and hope. There was nowhere to hide, and thoughts of her friend Barbara and family seemed unattainable sources of support. The only light in the darkness was old Agnes, a witch and helper who lived beyond the park. Rumors about her reached the school children, who sought her for various charms. Lily approached Agnes quietly, asking for a protective potion to ward off her stepfather, hoping that magic might become her salvation. Agnes welcomed her without fear or reproach. "You do not need a warding potion. You require something else," the old woman whispered, as she gathered the dark mixture into a vial. She revealed to Lily secrets about her mother, that once, in her youth, Evelyn had left the girl in a maternity hospital. Her stepfather was not just a stranger. Their lives were woven into the knots of fate, which, for some reason, only now were unraveling. The old woman reminded Lily that her mother once bore the weight of mistakes, and the stepfather dragged his own shadow along dusty streets. Lily finally understood why her mother chose to overlook Steve Sanders' behavior and preferred to remain silent about the past. After receiving a mysterious potion, the girl hurried back home, only to find the entire household thrown into chaos the next morning. Steve had vanished. He did not return after a day or even a week. Her mother desperately contacted relatives and hospitals, but all she got in reply was silence. Despite this, Lily felt a strange sense of relief mixed with the bitterness of loss. Her mother wept, dressed in mourning, demanding grief, yet the girl wrestled internally with rejection and emptiness. She could not forgive being left alone in the maternity hospital, then adopted under family pressure. That betrayal burned in her chest, consuming memories and feelings. During this dark time, Lily found solace near the city dam, watching a homeless man named Damien, who bore a striking resemblance to the former Steve Sanders, except now covered in dirt and pain. Damien's sorrowful eyes still glimmered when they met Lily's gaze, but he no longer remembered her, her mother, or his past life. Lily chose not to share these encounters with her mother. Perhaps it was better that way. Day by day, her mother grew weaker, her illness creeping deeper into her body. On the brink of death, Evelyn barely whispered to Lily what she had long tried to hide. "I left you in the maternity hospital," she murmured. For the first time, Lily sensed that the family's secrets could be the beginning of forgiveness. "I love you, Mom," she replied, letting tears flow freely, cleansing her soul from old pain. Sometimes, half-spoken words and silences could not mask true emotions, and that touched Evelyn deeply. She began to recover, and soon they were walking the streets together, sharing women's secrets and looking toward the future with hope. In the quiet of these moments, Lily relearned how to trust, desperately holding on to the chance for happiness and peace within the family. The wounds left by the past would take a long time to heal. Memories preserved traces of pain and loss, yet the light of forgiveness and true love could become the key to healing. The past no longer imposed demands of hatred or estrangement on each of their meetings. Lily understands that her path is still long and winding, but now she is not alone. Ahead lie new, fateful encounters and challenges that will help her better understand herself and those she struggled to forgive for so long. Only time and her heart will unravel the shadows of the past, opening doors to the light. A new chapter in their lives begins where the pain of loss ended and the fight for a sense of justice started. The right to be heard and loved. Steps toward reconciliation are ahead, searching for the answer to the question, is it possible to forgive when the deepest pain lives within? Around Lily is the care of her friend Barbara, secrets and wonders that Grandma Agnes continues to reveal, as well as distant relatives and neighbors who witness the family dramas now becoming an authentic part of her story. All of this lays the groundwork for new changes and discoveries. Despite the shadows of the past, a spark of hope lives within Lily's soul. The first rays of a new day are already breaking through the clouds, and many more emotions await. But she is ready to face everything with an open heart. This is the essence of the deepest struggle. When forgiveness becomes the key to salvation and moving forward in life against all odds. Now her story enters a new chapter, even more vivid and intense, filled with difficult decisions and unexpected encounters. The revelation about Lily's birth brought a heavy silence to the room. Lily stared into space, unsure how to start the conversation that had been postponed for so long. Evelyn sat still, as if afraid that the first word might expose her soul. She could no longer keep the truth inside, which weighed heavier and heavier. The past finally demanded the secrets be revealed. "You must know," her mother began softly. "Everything that happened was not as simple as it seems. It is not because I wanted to leave you, but because I was afraid. Afraid of this life, this family, and the one who could harm you and me." Lily folded her hands on her lap and tensed. At that moment, Agnes's words echoed in her mind. "Your mother is not a criminal, but has always been trapped by fear and society's judgment." She could not understand how she could take such a harsh step and still love you with such strength. Evelyn continued. "When I was young, my family and the community turned their backs on me. There was no one to support me. Steve Sanders. He was not a father to you. I knew this then, and I know it now. But he held me in fear and loneliness." Tears filled Lily's eyes as she recalled every moment of humiliation and every mocking glance from the stepfather, who never tried to hide his contempt. Her neglect haunted her deeply. Why had her mother not protected her? Why was she left alone? This question burned intensely in her heart, tearing her apart even more. "I was weak," Evelyn admitted. "I was afraid of losing you in the struggle with him and with myself. I left you at the hospital, hoping you would be safe there. But then I came back to find you, because my love for you was stronger than my fear and shame." Lily listened in silence, a sense of understanding slowly dawning within her. Some words are not easy to say, and some actions cannot be excused. Yet the roots lay in profound pain and a mother's fight against herself and the harsh world surrounding her. "I know I hurt you many times," Evelyn confessed with a trembling voice. "I want to make up for everything I can." You are not alone, Lily. You are all I have left, my most precious. Lily moved closer and pressed her cheek against her mother's hand, feeling a warmth she had longed for. I love you, Mom, she whispered, knowing true strength lies in forgiveness and empathy. They sat together, and in the quiet, an invisible turning point occurred. Old wounds began to heal, making space for hope and a new life where fear and resentment had no place. Outside the window, dawn was breaking, signaling the start of a new chapter filled with challenges yet full of possibilities. Nearby, Barbara waited for Lily by the house, ready to walk together and bring a little joy back into their lives. They did not yet realize the changes were coming, ones that would make them see the world through different eyes. Yesterday's fears and resentments were left behind, and now Lily was prepared to face the future with an open heart and fresh insight. Her story was only just beginning to unfold, and upcoming encounters, revelations, and perhaps long-awaited happiness awaited her. Renewal and the first meeting with the past. Life sometimes presents challenges that seem unbearable, yet only by overcoming them does one find true freedom and inner light. Evelyn was gradually recovering. Each day she grew a little stronger, as if nature itself, sensing the bitter truth of family secrets, was supporting her frail body. The apartment once again became filled with mixed emotions, love and pain, forgiveness and bitterness. Lily still struggled to cross the boundary of trust with her mother, but was making an effort to listen and understand her from a new perspective. Memories of the days when stepfather Steve Sanders shattered the family's peace slowly began to fade. Increasingly, Lily distanced herself from pain, turning her gaze toward the dark corners of the past where Damien lived, the city's homeless man who had once been her stepfather but had lost both his humanity and memory. He silently played the role of a living symbol of oblivion and life's unpredictability. Lily visited the city dump, watching him from afar. Damien recognized neither her nor her mother, yet his eyes remained bright and tinged with madness, as though he could read everything she was trying to forget. Evelyn was gradually opening up more and more to her daughter. The first moments of connection were beginning. For the first time in a long while, she genuinely desired to speak and open up. Their conversations took place in the evening, when the house was filled with a gentle glow, calming the weight of the days. Evelyn confessed her mistakes, and it was the first moment Lily saw not just the person who had left her at the maternity hospital, but a woman carrying a deep and heavy story within her soul. The past emerged from dark depths, yet it no longer felt terrifying, but rather a lesson that was difficult to accept. Steve Sanders remained a thing of the past, like a non-existent figure from childhood nightmares that now only sometimes haunted foreign dreams. His endless complaints and mockery vanished from the house with the dawn of that night when Lily took a desperate step. Along the winding roads of her destiny, she walked with Agnes, an old witch waiting beyond the park. Among bottles and strange potions, Lily realized that the power of forgiveness and justice could be both terrifying and beautiful at the same time. The truth revealed by Agnes helped the girl understand her loved ones and extinguish the inner fire of hatred. The support of Barbara, a loyal friend, became a new pillar in Lily's journey. It was with her that she wandered the streets, sharing fears and hopes, finding words that were hard to hear from family. Barbara knew how to listen without judgment, showing that even when everything crumbles, there is a light inside that will not go out. Together they dreamed of a future where a large family could again be true support, not a prison built on distrust. A distant relative named Stephen then appeared. Introducing a fresh element of ambiguity, his cold gaze and attachment suggested that there are boundaries between blood ties and genuine closeness. Yet he too, though silent, became part of the mosaic where each fragment contributed its shade of truth. Martha, their neighbor, had witnessed numerous family disputes. Her perspectives and stories helped Lily realize that problems that seem simple on the surface often require patience and immense inner strength to overcome. The lives of Evelyn and Lily became intertwined with the now forgotten Damien, whose face reflected the image of a past stepfather. Watching him, the girl understood the importance of letting go of this burden while carrying only the lessons and wisdom in her heart. The complicated relationship with her mother began to change tone. Hope started to emerge for both, that understanding could be reached even after the toughest trials. On one such special day, Evelyn spoke calmly and without resentment about what used to be a forbidden topic. Lily's birth, her abandonment in the maternity hospital, and later her return. The words touched Lily's heart deeply, awakening feelings of tenderness and compassion. They embraced, and tears washed away the accumulated pain like a heavy veil lifted from their connection. Lily felt she had found a mother who truly wanted and could be there for her. With every passing day, the mother grew stronger, and Lily became more confident in herself and her role within the family. They went on walks together, shared secrets typical of women, and made plans that filled their home with light and warmth. A bright life was slowly yet steadily taking shape, despite the shadows of the past. Meanwhile, mysterious secrets and unresolved questions still awaited their heroes. Lily held her encounter with Damien close to her heart, careful not to reveal it to anyone just yet. Within this moment lay the future, where past and present intertwine, preparing the way for a new chapter in their destinies. Life surpasses expectations when the heart is ready to forgive and love. And now, as Evelyn recovers, Lily finds support once again in those close to her, marking the arrival of fresh challenges and discoveries. Ahead lie meetings capable of transforming not only them, but the entire world around. As the next day dawned, both were set to face the unknown, with every sunrise carrying a promise of hope and the gaining of strength and friendship. Even though quiet family traditions were crumbling around her, Lily could not find refuge. Yet fate had prepared an unexpected pillar for her. Her friend Barbara had become a bright spot in the darkest days when her stepfather Steve Sanders grew unbearable. Barbara was more than a friend. She was a true sister in spirit, offering care and understanding where it seemed the world had turned its back. Their friendship grew stronger each day, like a chain preventing Lily from falling into despair. These moments of warmth and support stirred hope within Lily for the first time in a long while. Tensions in the household deepened, yet Evelyn, Lily's mother, either failed or refused to recognize what was unfolding.
Steve Sanders became increasingly demanding and sharp. He managed to disguise himself as a caring husband, but the girl's eyes revealed her dislike. Barbara, like a bright ray, inspired Lily with strength and confidence, helping her endure and resist despair. Together, they discussed family issues and made plans for the future, which gradually made Lily feel less alone in the vast sea of difficulties. Barbara was not just a listener. She actively took part in Lily's life, offering support through concrete deeds rather than empty words. It was Barbara who advised Lily to seek help from Agnes, a witch living in the private neighborhood beyond the park. Although scared, Lily was persuaded by her friend's suggestion and decided to take a risk. The witch openly stated that Lily did not just need ordinary help, but a special potion, becoming a trusted ally in secrecy. Agnes possessed unusual wisdom and insight. She seemed to read the girl's soul and understood her pain deeply. During their conversation, Lily learned about her mother's old sins, which explained much about her behavior and passivity. The interaction with Agnes became more of a revelation for Lily than mere magic. While preparing the potion, the witch shared that Evelyn had been forced to make difficult choices in her youth regarding a past relationship with the stepfather and how past mistakes could affect the present. Lily realized that her mother was not only a victim of circumstances, but also a person with her own wounds. This new understanding made the girl see her mother from a different perspective. From the outside looking in, one might even try to peer into a mother's soul to discover understanding within her. Steve Sanders vanished soon after appearing, just as unexpectedly, leaving behind only memories and a painful void. Lily's mother grieved his absence deeply, dressing in mourning and asking her daughter to follow her example. However, Lily could not assume that role. Deep inside, she sensed that the real hardships were still to come. Moreover, the fleeing stepfather became a ghostly figure, seen only as a homeless man who lost his place in society and slipped into oblivion. Demyan, a city legend and former Steve Sanders, turned into a symbol of a shattered past and a reminder that every mistake carries a cost. Barbara's support helped Lily resist surrendering to loneliness and misunderstanding. Her friend became someone who helped her forget painful scars, taught her to find joy in small things, and appreciate the present moment. Thanks to Barbara, the girl started opening up to others, returning to dreams and plans that once seemed out of reach. Their walks and talks became a haven of happiness and calm, where delicate seeds of trust and friendship began to grow, essential for Lily's inner balance. Meanwhile, Evelyn sank ever deeper into illness and despair. Conversations about the difficult past grew more intense. One day, when almost broken by sorrow, Evelyn made a confession that touched Lily's heart profoundly. Upon learning from her mother that she had been left at the maternity hospital, the girl experienced an overwhelming surge of emotions within her soul. Instead of the usual anger and rejection, her heart filled with sorrow and tenderness, while tears washed away the internal wounds.
forgiveness, and understanding became the bridge that allowed Lily to feel closer to her mother. This moment marked the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship. Mother and daughter, having endured trials and misunderstandings, began to rebuild their bond anew, even stronger than before. Lily opened up to her mother, allowing love and care to be expressed, which she had long yearned for. Their shared walks and conversations drew them closer, and the joy found in simple days gave the girl a sense of security. Barbara stood nearby, supporting them as they held on to happiness and hope for a better future, because many challenges still lay ahead that would require courage and strength. Lily continued to visit the city dump to see Demyan, whose face had lost its former significance. In these meetings, she recognized a reflection of her own pain, but also found a chance to let go of what no longer had the power to destroy her. She decided to keep this secret from her mother, understanding that preserving her peace and health was most important now. A new inner strength arose in her soul, supported by her friendship with Barbara and recent forgiveness. This courage gave her the power to face the challenges that adult life would bring. A new stage in life was beginning, one where the past no longer controlled the present. Despite the harsh lessons and pain, Lily learned from them, transforming her difficult story into a source of strength. The support of a close friend, the wisdom of Grandma Agnes, and finally the heartfelt confession of her mother all combined to build a solid foundation for her future. Everything they endured united them around an invisible axis of justice and forgiveness that each of them carried deep within their heart. Ahead of them lay another chapter, filled with new discoveries and perhaps the promise of happiness. A fresh path toward fairness and grace. So much hurt and unresolved feelings accumulate in the soul when the person closest to you becomes a stranger. Standing on the threshold of her 12th year, Lily truly realized for the first time that the way to justice was not through arguments, but through forgiveness, even if the heart refused to believe it. Steve Sanders, her stepfather, never stirred warm feelings in her. His drunken eyes, rude words, and lies struck her young spirit like cold ripples on a frozen lake. "Well, Lily, you're grown up now, 12 years old. Girls used to marry younger," he mocked, and the girl shrank back to the edge of her bed, her eyes shiny with fear. He kept clinging to images of the past, comparing her to her mother Evelyn, trying to justify his cruelty as he recalled certain traits. "You look a lot like your mother when she was young, so beautiful and patient," he sneered. Lily remained silent, retreating inward. When she finally gathered courage to leave, Steve Sanders, sounding hoarse and reluctant, let her pass while giving a sly wink from beneath his brow. His kind demeanor only intensified the tension, poisoning the household with a hidden menace. Her attempts to speak the truth went nowhere. Her words seemed to fall on deaf ears, while objections were cleverly disguised as reproaches. "Why do you hate me like this? What have I done to you?" Steve Sanders tried to appear kind, yet Lily knew his battle was not with her, but with the ghosts that haunted his mind. The accusations against his mother he carelessly unleashed were terrifying. "Your mother will not say a word to me. She knows what she did in her youth." At the moment when the tension reached its peak, the door suddenly opened and Evelyn entered the room. Steve Sanders, wearing a fake smile, shifted the conversation to a trivial quarrel, painting Lily as demanding and uncooperative. The girl withdrew into herself, overwhelmed by shame and distrust.
It was Lily's birthday, her 12th year, a day usually filled with happiness, yet in their home marked by the weight of secrets and painful silences. Evelyn gathered relatives, insisting that family was a source of strength and support. But even those closest could not erase the shadows cast by the stepfather. Steve Sanders used his biting tone to blame her behavior on hormonal changes. Evelyn, tired of arguing, led the guests away, while Steve left last, casting cold glances at his wife's daughter. Several weeks passed, and the situation became unbearable. Steve Sanders found new excuses to pick on Lily, deliberately provoking her with one clear aim: to break her spirit. The girl tried to avoid meetings, slipped away from the last lessons, left the classroom late. But the constant pressure finally pushed her to open up. "Mom, he's annoying me," Lily blurted out in frustration when she was alone with Evelyn. Without looking up from her tablet, Evelyn responded skeptically upon hearing that the cause was Steve Sanders, her husband. In Evelyn's eyes, Lily was a liar and a spoiled girl making up stories to damage her marriage. The accusations and distrust left no room for conversation. Stunned by the sense of betrayal, Lily felt an expanding emptiness inside. The person who should have protected her, who was supposed to be her guardian, turned away at the hardest moment. Evelyn harshly took away her daughter's freedom, forbidding her from leaving the house, seeing friends, confiscating her phone, and unleashing a flood of blame and reproach. Lily overheard that the family depended on Steve's money and that she was merely an irritating factor. Trapped in her room, she felt a vast loneliness growing inside, one she wanted to escape from at any cost, and she ran away. That night, silence became her ally. Slipping out the window on the first floor, Lily headed toward her last hope, the witch Agnes, who lived beyond the park in a private neighborhood. Among the students, rumors spread about the potions she brewed for lovers and those wishing to break ties. Lily knew she needed not a love spell but a potion to sever the bonds tying her to her stepfather. Taking her meager savings, the girl knocked on the door. Agnes greeted her as if she had been expecting her. "Maybe I was waiting," the old woman rasped, inviting Lily inside the dim house. "You need more than just any potion, child. Something different. And your stepfather is troubled, and your mother caused all this mess." Lily listened intently as the witch recounted the family's hidden past, revealing secrets and betrayals that clarified Evelyn's cold demeanor and Steve Sanders' neglectful attitude. The old woman mixed various liquids, preparing a potion that could alter their fate. "Here, take it carefully and do not let your mother taste it," she warned. Returning before dawn, Lily tucked the small bottle safely into her pocket. The morning unfolded as usual. Steve Sanders was the first to rise, drank water from a jug, and did his exercises. Evelyn woke, turned over, and fell asleep again. After about 15 minutes, the man vanished. "Lily, have you seen Steve?" her mother asked. Quietly,
The girl poured out the remaining potion and filled the bottle with fresh water, hiding both fear and the secret. Days passed without Steve appearing. Evelyn searched and made calls to distant relatives and Stephen, who was her late husband's relative, and whom the mother sought for support. But all efforts were fruitless. The police, after taking the report, found no signs of violence or abduction, concluding that Steve probably left voluntarily to escape family troubles. The mother mourned her husband, behaving as if in mourning, trying to make Lily follow her example. However, the girl refused to wear black as an act of silent rebellion against the injustice. Lily could not forget the wounds and betrayals buried in her infancy. From the moment her mother abandoned her in the maternity ward and only embraced her under the pressure of family, could such wounds ever heal swiftly? Is it possible to forgive such a profound betrayal? Yet, where did the secret that Grandma Agnes gradually revealed come from? The truth was uncovered. Although painful, Lily began to realize that her mother had also been trapped by circumstances and mistakes. Every week Lily would visit the city dump, where the stooped figure of Demyan, once Steve Sanders, now a miserable homeless man, lay among the trash heaps. His tangled hair and face stained with grime seemed like a distant echo from the past. He no longer remembered Lily, Evelyn, nor his former life. Still, his eyes had become unaccustomed to the world, yet continued to glance evasively whenever they met hers. Lily understood that it was better not to speak to him, so as not to shatter the fragile pieces of her soul. Nearby, Barbara, a witness to the family conflicts, stayed out of the quarrels, only listening carefully and occasionally trying once to convince her mother otherwise. After all, children are not objects. They do not choose their parents, and love cannot be forced. One must forgive in order to live, but such words sounded hollow in a room ruled by bitterness and silence. Suddenly, Evelyn fell ill, her face pallid, her lips trembling weakly, as she whispered confessions to Lily. "I left you in the maternity ward." Her voice quivered, unlocking the past's hidden chambers. Though Lily had seemed cold until recently, she felt a blush rise to her cheeks. "I know, Mom," she said quietly. And in those moments, there was both pain and a flicker of new hope in those words. Tears began to flow uncontrollably, as if cleansing old wounds. Resentment, anger, and hurt faded into the background, giving way to love and forgiveness. The girl pressed her cheek against her mother's hand and whispered, "I love you, Mummy. Just please get better." Evelyn smiled faintly, promising to change everything. This simple yet heartfelt agreement marked a turning point. Over time, her mother truly recovered and their relationship began to heal. They strolled through parks, shared even the smallest female secrets, and exchanged hopes. Lily felt, for the first time, that family was more than just blood or obligations. It was tenderness and the meeting of hearts. Perhaps that moment marked the beginning of a new journey, a path toward justice, where the past no longer judges, but gives strength to move forward. Many questions remained unanswered, and numerous scars required patience and time. Yet Lily already understood that justice was not found in punishment or blame, but in forgiveness and acceptance. Despite the complexity of the situation, she was ready to move ahead, because ahead lay a bright dawn and the promise of fresh hopes she intended to greet with an open heart. This story has only just begun, with new mysteries and challenges on the horizon. Lily will face them alongside her friends, Barbara, whose shoulder became a refuge of support, Stephen, who watches from afar, assisting, and even old Agnes, whose potions sometimes work miracles. For in every act of forgiveness there is hidden power, and love never fades away. Subject to the influence of time and fragile situations. What the coming days hold for Lily, who she will become, only time will reveal, patiently waiting to uncover the fate of those who find light through darkness. Now, having gathered fragments of happiness, Lily is prepared to take a step forward into the future where forgiveness will serve as her most powerful weapon and shield.